So, the previous video I made on this subject is actually my most popular video ever. I figured over a year and a half later that it's probably time for a sequel. For those of you that haven't seen the previous video, this is a list of 5 of RuneScape's most iconic glitches. Now, keep in mind it's not the most iconic of all time, as that is almost impossible to measure, and it kinda just boils down to personal opinion. It's just 5 glitches throughout RuneScape that would be considered iconic. Before I get started, I just want to let you all know I finally launched some merch, so if you're interested in that, feel free to grab it in the description below. This design will only be available until December 31st, and maybe a few days after, so if you want it, be sure to grab it. Regardless, that's enough rambling from me, so let's get into the video. Number 5. Crucible Money Pouch Glitch. Although the Crucible no longer exists, when it was around it was subject to quite a few glitches, the most notable being ones related to the money pouch. The first one that ever happened actually occurred right after its release. It involved players with a bank pin entering the Crucible, but pressing that they didn't know their pin when asked to enter it. This made it so they didn't have to pay the fee that is normally required to use the Crucible. Plus, when the player left the Crucible, they would get the amount of money back that they should have had to pay earlier. The fee depended on your level, meaning if you had a max level account, you would receive 518k back. This glitch could be done very quickly and got out of hand extremely fast. Jagex ended up taking the entire game offline to patch it. As a result of its abuse, a large number of players were banned. Although it was fixed, it didn't take long for a different variant to show up. It's possible that this next one had been abused since as far back as the day after the Crucible released. To keep it short, players entered the Crucible, paid their fee, exited, went to the bank to fill their pouch back up to the maximum capacity, and went back to get their fee. Instead of receiving their fee in the money pouch because it was full, 2 stacks of their fee would be dropped onto the floor instead of just 1. Players also found a way to do something similar at the duel arena. This glitch was kept a secret for about a week until it got leaked. Jagex ended up fixing it soon after on August 5th, 2012. Now what makes this glitch so iconic is Jagex's response to it. Anyone who abused this bug several times was completely banned with no chance of appeal. Not only that, some of the accounts that had abused it had their names, levels, and playtime publicly posted on the RuneScape website. Jagex has never done anything like this before. In the past, they've simply banned the account and moved on. This time, some people who abused it were publicly humiliated for doing so. Number 4. Rogue bot watch bans. This one must have been pretty scary for anyone that was affected by it. Back on the 27th of September 2012, Jagex pushed out an update to BotWatch that pretty much started banning innocent players. For anyone who doesn't know what BotWatch is, it's basically Jagex's bot detection system. It was first introduced a little over a week before this glitch occurred on the 18th of September 2012. So what was basically happening is BotWatch was detecting what it believed to be botting on innocent players' accounts, and immediately banning them with no chance to appeal. Along with this, the lucky players who didn't get banned received false warnings that told them to stop botting. Another weird side effect is that if they tried to drop any items, they would disappear immediately. By the time Jagex got around to fixing this glitch, over 40,000 accounts had been permanently banned. Jagex ended up reversing all of these and issuing an apology to anyone affected. Along with this, 20 free spins on the Squeal of Fortune were given to each account involved. I can only imagine how many players must have freaked out when this happened to them. For many players, their RuneScape account is literally decades of their life. Just the thought of losing that sounds absolutely devastating. Number 3. U-Crash. I'm honestly not sure how to pronounce this one, but it looks close to the letter U, so that's how I'm gonna say it. Anyway, this one is overall just kinda strange. I'm not really sure how anyone even managed to figure it out, to be honest. Basically, this glitch was a result of an issue with the RuneScape client's coding. The client was unable to display this U-looking character, so whenever someone typed it, their game would immediately crash. Not only would their client crash, anyone else who saw it would crash too. The only way to prevent yourself from crashing was by turning off public chat. But people abusing this bug would also use that to their advantage. They would turn off public chat and spam this in populated areas. Their client wouldn't see the message, but everyone else with public chat still on would. This means they could just run around disconnecting anyone they wanted to. When Jagex found out what was going on, they quickly took action. They told players to stay in quiet in remote areas, turn off public chat, and also disabled 4 activities to prevent item loss. Those areas being Bounty Hunter, Dangerous Clan Wars Free-for-All arenas, Stake Dueling, and Duel Arena tournaments. They also lastly told players to stay away from PvP worlds until the bug could be patched. A few hours after making this announcement, it was fixed and the previously locked areas were unlocked again. I don't think anyone got banned for abusing it, as it was pretty harmless once Jagex closed off those areas. Although, I do feel bad for anyone that lost their items when it was first discovered. Number 2. Fight Pit Massacre. Typically when you hear the words massacre and RuneScape in the same sentence, your first thought is probably the Falador Massacre. What a lot of players don't know is a lot more glitches like the Falador Massacre have happened in RuneScape's past, some with a much larger scale of damage than Falador's. An example of that would be the Tazar Fight Pit Massacre, which occurred on May 13th, 2008. Basically what happened is a glitch occurred where some players were able to attack those in the waiting room for the Fight Pit minigame. Not only could they attack those players, if they killed them they could loot all of their items too. Nobody really knows what actually caused the glitch to happen, but there are a few guesses. The main one being that Jagex forgot to set it so you couldn't attack people from inside the fight pits when doing a graphics update earlier that day. Anyway, players who abused this glitch got pretty lengthy bans according to the wiki. It doesn't actually say how long it was, but based on that wording, I don't think anyone was permanently banned. This glitch has actually popped up twice in RuneScape's history. The second time it was during the Tazar City update that happened in 2012, although there doesn't seem to be as much information about that one. Number 1. June 9th, 2009 Game Engine Crash Glitch. As the title of this video says, it's pretty much the day that all of RuneScape was completely broken. When I say everything was broken, I really do mean everything was broken. This one's a big one, so let's get started. The glitch occurred on, obviously, June 9th, 2009. It happened as a result of an engine update where a huge portion of the engine was rewritten. Literally a minute after the update went live, the forums started to fill up with bug reports. It got to the point where the forums were just completely overloaded. 3 main glitches occurred along with a number of smaller ones. The first one being that banks were just completely inaccessible. When trying to use a bank, you'd get the message, "I can't reach that." The only way a bank could be used was by going to the Grand Exchange and clicking the bank desk option. The second glitch was that NPCs were just completely unable to use magic or ranged attacks, and many didn't retaliate against players at all when being attacked. This meant players were able to solo the Corporal Beast and God War's dungeon bosses with no problems. They were also able to complete the fight cave incredibly fast. Third was the World 64 crash. Any player who logged into World 64 was unable to log into any other worlds with that account. This means they were basically stuck there. Eventually the world crashed and a 10-minute rollback was done on that world. Previously, Mod Emily stated no rollbacks would be done, but it happened anyway. Even though it was just 10 minutes, it led to a loss of item drops and experience. Other than that, there's a massive list of bugs that happened. Too many to read, but here's a few. Players couldn't pickpocket, players couldn't train Hunter, you couldn't remove your armor or eat while running, Void Knights became invincible, players couldn't eat anchovies, and you get the point. The list just goes on and on and on. In total, Jagex had to do 6 system updates that day, 4 of which were attempts to fix all the issues. Besides the rollback on World 64, no others happened, and no accounts were banned for abusing any glitches. I wasn't online the day it happened, but it seems like a complete mess. I couldn't even imagine how frustrating it must have been for both Jagex and players. So that's it for today's video. I may make another video about the same subject in the future, so feel free to suggest any glitches I may have missed. Also, don't forget merch is linked in the description, so if you want some, be sure to grab it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Drop a like, and I will see you next time.